Hey, what's up YouTube? Offroad Garage here. On today's video, we're going through the YJ. As you can see, it's in a shop. It's been a while since I posted, and I wish I would have recorded a little bit more on this whole project. As you can see, there's wiring and stuff hanging. We're got the multimeter out and stuff. And that reason is because we pulled the 2.5 4-cylinder out and dumped an inline 6 4.0 liter engine in there. And I got the engine and the transmission and the transfer case because the planetary gear was different from the older one to the newer one. Anyway, got that from a Cherokee. And then I had a couple other parts Cherokees. That's where this is a 96 engine harness, and the dash harness is a 95 Cherokee harness, and that's why the multimeter's out. We took a crap ton of wiring out of this harness. Just broke it down to the essentials. All the ABS is out of it, cruise controls out of it, the window defroster, automatic transmission wiring harness, it's all out. And yes, I did keep the 5-speed. This is an AX15. I had bought a Cherokee that had the transmission and motor in it. And yeah, that's what we're working on, is wiring, thanks to my brother's help, because I don't quite understand it. But we welded new motor mounts, because they needed to be spaced. I can't quite remember. I think it was like 3 inches more forward, something like that. We basically we didn't have the measurement, so we put the motor in with the transmission and the skid plate on, bolted everything down, and then just had a cherry picker holding the weight of the engine up, and then just aligned it and then welded them, and it came out fine. It's all welded in and everything. Like I said, I wish I would have videoed a little bit more on this project. I just kind of spaced it. Life's been kind of busy. I got married, moved, have a kid on the way. You know, life moves on, and I just completely forgot to make videos on this, sadly. But yep, that's pretty much what I've been working on for the last probably 6 months. Just slowly working on it. No big rush. I had the Cherokee to off-road. Sadly, I rolled it and crushed the roof in on it. Going too fast on ice. Or I was going too fast in the snow, and I ran a corner and hit black ice and rolled it. But yeah, so sadly that white Cherokee is done for. Of course, after I had already bought all the wiring for this one, because I had to buy this new dash wiring harness, because the 4-cylinder harness would not, when I plugged it in, it gave power to all the wrong places, and it wouldn't even crank over. And I just opted to just buy an eBay $150 95 Cherokee harness and put it in, and that way it's better baseline, which it worked perfect. I actually drove this Jeep around with all the wiring dangling, because I don't really know how to wire the gauges and stuff, but that's what me and my brother's been working on. You can see it's all taped up of stuff where he knows where it goes. And then for the windshield, or for the headlights, we just opted to leave the Cherokee style in, and then it'll just go in instead of the factory YJ harness, or the factory YJ ones. This is the factory 4-cylinder harness, but instead of going with these switches, which would have been more wiring, might as well just wire up plug in a Cherokee headlight switch. But yeah, that's the YJ 2.5 harness that we pulled out. all the ABS and pins and crap for brakes and whatnot for the ABS and transmission. And then we're left with this. And here soon we're going to finish wiring. We got one last gauge to wire. And then button up, put this wiring back together, electrical tape it all, hang it all up, probably shorten those wires because they're a little bit long, so they button up to the steering column, and then hook up the heater with the factory YJ harness, because that's the factory YJ heater harness, and all you need is the power going into it. So that's simple enough, instead of trying to make the Cherokee harness work, or the heater harness work. But yep, we got it pretty damn close to being done. Here's all the fucking random parts that I have from Cherokees and everything. From the 2 Cherokees that I had parted out to make this happen. One was a junk one that was rolled, and that's where the engine harness come out of. And then one I bought for the motor and transmission. But yeah, we got the brake lights wired, because we had to redo the brake light on it. What the Sorry, the lights are flickering. Anyway, sorry about that. The lights started flickering. But yeah, we had to redo the brake light wiring. Here's the engine harness from the 2.5. Yeah, we had to redo brake lights, fuel pump. The fuel pump now runs along with the taillight wiring and we spliced the factory seatbelt, like dinger, or the seatbelt light plug. We tapped into that and then ran it up, so it would be actually on a timer and turn on for like the 5 seconds or however much it needs to be, and then click off. That way it's not constantly running. Oh, and let me walk back over here. If you're wondering what I did for fuel lines, I just took the factory 2.5 fuel rails, or the lines, cut them, and with those parts Cherokees, I had enough spare line from the parts Cherokee to put these compression fittings on, and it actually works perfect. They're just zip tied up. And then I just hooked up the factory exhaust, and I had to switch this header out with one that I had laying around from the many Cherokees that I've had, in the whole bunch of Cherokee parts that I had. I had a spare header for this, because this one was cracked pretty heavily and just dumping exhaust fumes out, or exhaust out. So luckily I had that one, and I just bolted it on. But yeah, and then up here, basically the only thing we needed to do was splice in for the splice this different, like a 95 Cherokee plug for the 4-wheel drive light, reverse light, and speedometer. And then we needed the neutral safety switch needed to be jumped over, because that's all automatic wiring. And then of course, your transfer case stuff. I do not have the 4-wheel drive light hooked up. It won't work with this harness style anyway, and you don't really need it. I know when I'm in 4-wheel drive and when I'm not. But yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on with the YJ. I know it's been a long time since you guys have seen this Jeep, and like I said, I wish I would have videoed a little bit more and kept you guys up to date on really how to do the swap, because as easy as people make it seem, it was a cluster. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of late nights in the shop, wiring. That was the biggest part, was wiring everything up and figuring out all that. And then the front drive shaft, if you want to do this swap, the front drive shaft extends damn near all the way out. You can start to see the splines with the factory 2.5, because the AX15, since we think the AX15 sitting 2 inches further back. Sorry, I'm spitting and sputtering here. Because I think it's a little bit longer, like I said, by like 2 inches, just about the tail end of it. So it pushes that transfer case like 2 inches further back. But, yep, that's pretty much what I've been up to. If you have any questions on how I did this swap and what it requires, I can try to answer it. I would highly recommend, if you were to do this swap, would be to jump on eBay or something like of the sorts and grab a YJ straight 6 fuel injected if you want a fuel injection. That's why this has been such a headache, because I've been trying to keep the fuel injection. Anyway, I would highly recommend running YJ straight 6 wiring harness up front, the engine harness, and you might be able to get away with the 2.5 dash harness, be able to just plug them in, but I don't quite know. Like I said, when I plugged this one in, all of the power was in the wrong spots. But then again, this has ABS, cruise control, transmission, just a bunch of random stuff that this Jeep doesn't have. So, like, if you stuck with a YJ straight 6 engine harness, it might plug in to the 2.5 dash harness and work. But if not, you can just buy a dash harness from a straight 6. And yeah, it should work a lot easier than what I had to go through for the wiring. I'm just lucky I had a brother that knew how to do the wiring, because I am completely lost watching him figure out which pins need to go where, which wires need to go where, which can be pulled out. Yeah. But anyway, that's pretty much just an update on the YJ. Show you guys what you need to do, or kind of an FYI if you're going to do the straight 6 swap. This is the headache that I've gone through. So, I'll see you guys next time on Off-Road Garage.